His name was number 9. They were all numbers.
Just a number?
Just a number.
Until earlier this year, this was number 9's home, the Valley Animal Research Centre in Himatangi.
For 28 days, these animals are being given high repeat doses of an anti-inflammatory drug.
The facility was run by biopharmaceutical scientist Alan Goldenthal. Beagles are often the breed of choice for end-stage drug testing due to their compliant nature.
The animals do trust us, and I won't deny that. And they do expect, please don't hurt me. And while they're, under our care, we try to maintain that.
The testing facility was the subject of a 60 Minutes investigation.
But Alan Goldenthal was not prepared to let us film the procedure or what happens inside his laboratory.
The research centre has closed, so where are the beagles now? Well, this is their story.
He knew what grass was by the time he got to us, but evidently he didn't prior to that.
Number 9 was adopted by his new owners a month ago after the pound picked him up from the closed facility.
Good boy.
He's got a bit of his ear missing.
He looks older than his 4 years and has some health and behavioural problems.
He must have had recurrent infections in his ear in the past, that whether they've not been treated at the right time, because he now has a very narrowed ear canal, so he's probably going to have ongoing problems with his ear.
Number 9 now has a home, but other beagles just like him are being advertised for sale on TradeME by Margaret Hakima. She's a former director of the Valley Animal Research Centre and Alan Goldenthal's estranged wife.
Our concern is they are being sold without any prior knowledge of their background. So, there could be those behavioural issues, they're not toilet trained, they're not used to being patted and touched in a loving way.
We wanted to know what Margaret was telling prospective owners, so our producer Jane, a dog lover, asked to buy 2 of the dogs.
Well, they've never been in the house,
Oh,
so
have they?
no, they've not
So
been
those dogs, are they house trained? Or?
No, but they're not.
Margaret Hakima brought the beagles to Jane's home and told her their names were Dawn and Susie.
Susie! Susie! Hey, come on. Come on. They've been on a lifestyle. She's been on a lifestyle. Very rarely has she ever had a leash or collar on.
Margaret explained that they've had a couple of litters.
And just to sell to the public.
And so are they Kennel Club registered or they're not?
No, they're not registered.
And none of them have had any health problems?
No. I'm rehoming a lot of beagles. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm just downsizing. Everything's going. So.
Right. Okay. And why is that?
Going back overseas.
Okay. So is it just 1 or 2 more, or you've got?
I have 30.
Holy heck.
Yes. Holy heck is right.
One of the dogs, Dawn, appeared extremely fearful and would not even take food from Jane. Margaret offered this explanation for Dawn's behaviour.
Dawn was on the lifestyle and never went anywhere. She never went on the road.
Right.
Because she's shy. One of the reasons why I gave you Dawn was because Susie will help Dawn adjust.
Margaret gave the 2 dogs to Jane for free, but asked for $200 to cover petrol costs.
And
I'll just grab some money.
Campbell Live repeatedly asked Margaret Hakima for an interview.
I don't think I'd be willing to do that because I actually don't think you've got a story. Not really. Do you really think I should? Do you feel that it would be in my best interest to do an interview with you?
I do.
We do, but she refused. We wanted to know whether the dogs she's selling on TradeME have been tested on. I just wanted to give you another opportunity to do an interview with us.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to do that. Thank you.
Margaret, I think the problem is that you say these dogs haven't come from the testing station, is that right?
That's right.
I find it hard to believe because you've had a beagle testing station,
Yes.
and yet now you're rehoming 30 or 40 beagles?
Yeah.
So where have they come from? Margaret, please, I just have another thing. On TradeME, Margaret advertises the beagles as coming from her lifestyle property, where they're not fenced in. But this is where they're actually being housed.
Hello.
It's the kennel where Margaret bred the beagles for testing purposes. Margaret will not let our camera in, but agreed to show me around. Margaret admitted to me that the dogs she's rehoming came from her and her husband's testing facility.
Was it a better option that my husband said, I will put them all down, every single dog gets put down?
What
Is
happened?
that a better option?
What happened to the dogs that were at the research facility then?
They came here.
This is contradicting what she had told us earlier.
That's the problem.
But while they came from the research facility, Margaret maintains that these dogs have not been tested on because testing stopped about 3 years ago.
The dogs that came here were not used for research.
So what happened to the dogs that were used for research?
You're going to have to ask my husband that.
Her husband, Alan Goldenthal, still has a licence to do animal testing in New Zealand, but he's currently working for the Chinese government. His Facebook page shows him posing with pandas. In the meantime, there's no doubt that he's left his wife with the very difficult task of rehoming institutionalised dogs.
They're not able to socialise them because these dogs aren't house trained. They don't come to their name. They don't know how to sit. They're not pets really, are they? And I think
not house trained, they're kennel dogs.
I do think if you're going to find homes for these dogs, you need to disclose what the environment is that they're coming from.
There are still around 30 adult beagles plus puppies in the facility, and a couple of other breeds as well.
I haven't seen anything like that before. Maybe it's normal, I don't know, but the dogs are on cold concrete floors in wire cages. They're drinking out of dirty water. They seem very institutionalised. There's no one in handling them. There's just no love.
Animal welfare group Hoo Ha drove a truck from Wellington to offer to take the unwanted dogs off Margaret. They negotiated with her for an hour and a half.
So she's determined that she wants to do right by the dogs herself, and that she wants to sort of follow through and rehome them herself. It's really difficult because clearly it's a really stressful situation. Anyone would be overwhelmed in this situation, to be sort of left sort of in the lurch with all these animals, and we're in the position to help.
Because of behavioural problems, some of the dogs Margaret has been rehoming are ending up at pounds.
So inappropriate people are getting the dogs and then finding 6 months or a year down the track that they can't handle them.
It's hard to track whether beagles at pounds originated at the Valley Animal Research Centre, but Napier Pound reports a large number of beagles coming in. But unsuspecting owners buying off TradeME may need to be aware of unforeseen costs.
There could be medical costs associated with things that have happened that they don't know about.
We asked a vet to examine Susie and Dawn. Again, Dawn was cowering in the corner.
She's just very frightened. Good girl. She's obviously used to being handled because she's not freaking out. Normally if they're going to get upset, they'll get upset when I look at around their face.
Number 9 now also has the help he needs and a new name.
We call him Beagie Boy.
Beagie Boy. Hello.
He has toys in his own soft bed.
It's going to be a long haul trying to get him used to strangers and all the rest of it, but we'll get there.